My name is Nanny Marres, and I was born in Amsterdam in 1945, in the hunger winter in Amsterdam, as the eldest daughter of 6 children in a very unhappy marriage of my parents. I studied psychology in Amsterdam for 4 years, then I got children, and then I studied speech therapy, and I became a voice therapist. And I was very influenced by the Roy Hart theater, and it is about making sounds, long sounds on your out breath, accompanied on the piano. So in a way, what I do with the stones is a continuation of it. It's also bringing it in the outer world, sharing, coming out of hiding. So this represents my enormous fear to come out with what is really important for me. There is a deep fear, and it's not in my mind, it's not in beliefs, it's in my body. It's like to be swept away totally. That's in my body. It helps me to put a stone, to choose a stone, to connect with it, to myself, and get out of the identification with it. Oh, I'm so stupid, there's Nanny again. Oh, I shouldn't. And just, this is my fear. And I put it down for myself, and I put it in the field between us. And there's an enormous, deep, deep longing to come out, to share, to connect. And it's only getting bigger and bigger as I'm getting older. I'm 79. And of course there are many voices about should and shouldn't, but if I just acknowledge and own and embrace that deep longing and putting it down, it's like giving it to the world. And then I feel that the stronger the fear, the stronger the longing. And the stronger the longing, the stronger the fear. So it helps to hold them and be in that contradiction. When you take a stone, when you hold it, you really feel that you go out of your thinking mind into your body. One could say out of the left brain, linear thinking into the future based on the past, undigested past, into the right brain, into the body, the wholeness, the oneness. And that is indeed what happens. You get out of the anxiety brain, the thinking, the worrying. I hope I shouldn't have said that. And this is how it is, being with what is. What is at the moment. And perhaps there's resistance or shame or numbness. Perhaps I don't feel anything, or I feel, don't do this. I take stone for it. Don't do this. Just what is, and be with what is, and slow down and get out of language, but be with it. And then, oh, but I feel that something is coming up, an emotion is coming up, for instance, sadness, and I take a stone for sadness, and I just be in that sadness, be with it. So that can be on my own, can help, and together, and also very well in marriages, in relationships. It helps very, very, very much. Because you really get out of the identifications, the roles, the masks, the hiding. Coming out of hiding. Slow, it slows down. And I love how I read this week, many people, while speaking, leave their body and they come in a speaking role. That I recognize. They are, in the left brain language, and you hear in the voice that it's not embodied, it's not connected to the heart, you could say, the feeling. So in a way, it is the same as the voice work I did a long time ago. Many people don't know, they don't realize that they think it's only words, but there's a big difference in voice and words. And this is the voice, it's breath, it's voice, it's body, it's tension in the body, it's... And you could make this collective. This is the tension in our collective body, where we hold the undigested past. But we are totally out of connection with ourselves, with nature, with everybody. And language doesn't do it any good. No. Could you listen without judgment to your voice? Let it in your heart. That's what I said 30, 40 years ago. That was my work. Have people listen without judgment and then see their judgment. See, that's impossible. Of course, we always think in good and bad. That's what our minds do. And also see that without judgment. That's what our minds do. That's what our minds do. Language deceives us. But the voice and the stones, that's a different world. They don't lie. To see who we really are with so much love. If you really feel the brokenness, something happens. Grief is a portal to love. If we can grieve together and mourn together, then something else can come. Not if we try to solve or push away. It's like going into more and more and more how traumatized we all are and how we are born in a traumatized world. And they are in our DNA, in our bodies. Epigenetic, how you call it, it's in our nervous systems. And to be aware of that, that is perhaps also the relation to the stones, to how deeply connected we are with the past in our nervous systems. We are nature. There is such a complexity in the stones. So it brings you to complex layers. And it opens up unconscious layers. And to just look at it and then, or feel it, and then suddenly, oh, a memory can come up. So implicit memory is awakened because you go in the body. And there is not a strategy. That's the most important thing. We are going nowhere. It is just what is coming up, what wants to be seen, what wants to be felt, what perhaps was never felt, never seen. Perhaps now, because of how a stone looks, or how this is happening, something comes up that you have never ever really looked at. And that needs time. Our bodies need time to go beyond words, to feel, really feel. So I put a stone for feelings, thoughts, perhaps feelings in my body, emotions, and there are objects that I can look at and connect with. But what happens after a session with these stones, that you can take a little distance and be awareness, the shift from aware of into being awareness. And I liked what I heard saying, being on the balcony. The theater life happening here through you and through all of us. Sitting on the balcony, being in love with life, with everything, with grief, anger, horrible, horrible things. But feel part of it. I think that's the main thing. Feel. Now that I'm talking, I think of the wars, and I have this voice in me, "Hey, Nanny, what are you saying? How can you talk like this? Do you say the same thing about the wars that are happening?" I don't know. Let me just talk about the work I do with people, with their traumas. And with this compassion. And then even the wars that are happening can come, if you see it like so old, collective trauma that's underneath. And looking from the balcony. Was a mediator, non-violent mediator, who said this, by the way. He was working with Gaza and Israel. And he said this, being on the balcony. And that's also my longing. I lived in the 60s and the 70s as a hippie, and we fought. We were so optimistic. And if you talk about peace now, there's so much mourning. So much mourning. And I have to accept where we're in now. And see it in the broader perspective. So this is about putting on the table what was always held under the table. Everything was held under the table. We didn't see, we were arrogant here, and we felt, this is it. Not being aware of what the West, Europeans did. Colonialism, not having any clue. We never learned in school what we as Dutch people did in Indonesia. Had no idea. It was just a romantic fantasy. So that comes into the light. And that's the stonework also. Bringing the darkness and the light together. only then transformation can happen. Only then.
Can you take a stone for war?
For war.
Take one for war and one for peace.
Yeah, I take the same one as this, as the fear. I take this for war. And peace. I actually don't know what that is. It's a bit of an abstraction, peace. It's deep acceptance of what is happening. So that I will find this yellow stone for deep acceptance. That is peace for me. So the war and peace.